When is it time to have the talk about a move? Common question I hear all the time is, how do we know when it's time to talk with mom and dad about a move? I'm Jess Carpenter, Realtor, and I'm answering this form of question from a real estate side. Okay? So the answer is not always when they're ready to sell. I hate that answer, actually. That's usually like when it's a little bit too late. The better time to talk about when the house, starts, creating decisions that the family can no longer ignore. Like the steps start becoming an issue. There's rooms that are no longer, being used. It might, maintenance might start to kind of fall to the side and delay. The yard might become a little too much. Might be the bills or appointments and repairs and daily routines getting harder to manage. Those are the things. It might be that one adult child quietly doing more and more and more just to help the parents stay in the house. I've seen that a lot. That does not automatically mean, the parents have to move. That's important because the conversation should not begin with, you need to sell. I hate that. It should begin with, so what's getting harder? What parts of the house still work for you? There's always something, what parts of the house are becoming, a little bit too much? What would you want to avoid, if something suddenly happened? What situation? What options would you want to understand before having to decide? Super quick. You don't want a quick decision. You want to be. So the real point of this conversation is, it's not to force a move. It's to keep the family from, waiting until the only option needs to be a rushed option. From the real estate side, the house is only one piece of the big picture, People don't see that, sometimes the right answer is to stay home. Just bring in more support. Or sometimes it could be, modify the house a little bit. Sometimes it's to just downsize. And downsize has many meanings. And sometimes it's to, move closer to the family or have family move closer to you. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's time to think about, independent living or assisted living or some other type of care setting. And sometimes selling a house becomes part of, the next steps, funding. It's how you're going to pay for the next step. But the family can't make a clear decision if nobody knows the options. So when is the time to talk about the house? Well, when the house is still manageable enough for your parents to have a choice. It's great to have choices and options. When the family can talk before there's any kind of a crisis, that's the time. When the question is not, what are we going to do by Friday? But wouldn't you rather have it be so what would we like to make the next chapter, easier? What can we do to make it manageable? Now, this is all general real estate guidance. There's no legal, tax, financial, medical, or, care advice. If healthcare costs or Medicaid or Medicare issues or any kind of insurance, you should talk to the authority of that area, because the more you know from the right people, the better it is. So if your family's starting to wonder whether it's time to, talk about the move or just the next step, just call Jess. I'm right here.